Let's talk about Walmart. You know the name, but do you know the story behind it? This isn't just about a successful company. It's about how a single devastating failure became the launchpad for the largest company on the entire planet. We're going to unpack the incredible journey of its founder, Sam Walton.
Okay, just to get a sense of the scale we're dealing with, look at this number. Over $600 billion. That's what Walmart brings in every single year. By that metric, it's not just a big company. It's the biggest in the world, an empire of almost unimaginable size.
But honestly, the numbers aren't even the most interesting part of this story. Because the road to building this empire, it didn't start with some brilliant overnight success. No, it started with a catastrophic failure that almost ended Sam Walton's career before it ever really got going.
To really understand the man, you have to go back to the beginning, to his childhood, which was forged in one of the toughest economic times in American history. So Sam Walton was born right smack in the middle of the Great Depression. His family had to move around constantly, just chasing work. And from a super young age, Sam was pitching in. We're talking milking the family cows, delivering newspapers, doing whatever he could to help make ends meet. That experience, it baked into him this deep sense of financial discipline and self-reliance that pretty much defined his entire life.
After college, he got his first real job in the business world at JCPenney. That's where he learned the nuts and bolts of retail. Then World War II hits, and his time in the Army just sharpened his discipline even more. You can see he was kind of quietly putting together all the tools he was going to need later on.
And this is where the story takes a huge turn. Armed with his life savings and alone, Walton was ready to go out on his own. This was his big shot. And man, it was about to teach him his most painful and valuable lesson.
So he buys a Ben Franklin franchise store and immediately starts trying out his own ideas. He priced everything super aggressively, kept his shelves way better stocked than the competition, and just worked like crazy. And the result? His store became a massive success, the most profitable Ben Franklin in the whole region. He really thought he had the winning formula.
He thought he had it all figured out. But in all the excitement of getting the business up and running, he'd made a classic rookie mistake. He'd completely overlooked a single, tiny sentence buried deep in his lease agreement. A sentence that was about to bring his whole world crashing down.
The issue was the lease renewal clause, or really the lack of one. See, Walton had signed a 5-year lease, but he never got it in writing that he had the right to renew. So when those 5 years were up, the landlord saw how incredibly successful the store was, refused to renew the lease, and just took the business over for his own son. In the blink of an eye, Walton was kicked out of his own creation.
And this just puts the human cost of that mistake into perspective. He's only 32 years old. He has a wife and 4 kids to feed. All that hard work, all that success, just gone. He had to pack up his family and start all over, completely from scratch. You know, for most people, that would have been it. Game over.
But for Sam Walton, this failure wasn't the end, not even close. In fact, it was the beginning. He took the sting of that loss and used it as fuel for his next move, a move that would change the face of retail forever.
So he moves the family to Bentonville, Arkansas, a tiny, remote town that most business people would have just driven right past. And there, he opens up a new, modest little store called Walton's 5 and 10. And you can bet your life he read every single word of that lease.
It was right here, in this little town, that the big idea started to form. By 1962, when he was 44, Walton had this revolutionary insight. All the big city retailers were completely ignoring small-town America. He realized he could bring discount stores to these communities that nobody else cared about. His whole philosophy was simple: buy low, sell cheap. He'd run on razor-thin profit margins and make his money on huge sales volume. This was it, the birth of the Walmart concept.
You know, it's one thing to have a great idea. It's a whole other challenge to build a machine that can execute it on a massive scale. And this is where Sam Walton's operational genius really comes into play.
I find this slide fascinating because it shows just how differently Walton thought. While all his competitors were dumping money into flashy TV ads and fighting over big cities, Walton did the complete opposite. He basically ignored advertising and instead became obsessed with logistics. He knew the secret to low prices wasn't marketing, it was being ruthlessly efficient. He went after rural America and built a supply chain that nobody could beat.
His secret weapon was what's called the hub and spoke model. It's brilliant. He'd build a huge central warehouse, the hub, and then open up a bunch of stores all within a day's drive of it, the spokes.
This meant Walmart trucks were always full, delivering goods on the way out and picking up new stuff from suppliers on the way back. It was this constant motion that cut out waste and let him restock shelves way faster and cheaper than anyone else. It was a logistical masterpiece.
And get this, he was a tech guy, way ahead of his time. Long before it was normal, Walton was investing heavily in computers to track every single item in his inventory in real time. This let him see what was selling every single day, automate the restocking process, and make sure his shelves were always full of exactly what people wanted to buy. This tech advantage was a huge piece of the puzzle.
So you take all that innovation, that incredible work ethic, and that obsession with efficiency. What did it all create? Well, the numbers that followed are just staggering.
Today, there are over 10,500 Walmart stores operating across the globe. Just think about that for a second. From one tiny shop in Bentonville, Arkansas, to a global retail network.
And that network is huge, spanning across 24 different countries. They might operate under different names in some places, but they're all built on the exact same principles Sam Walton laid out.
But this is the number that just blows my mind. Every single week, those stores serve over 230 million customers. That's an almost incomprehensible number of people whose lives are touched by the company that Sam Walton built from nothing.
So what can we learn from his story? Well, first, that failure can be your absolute greatest teacher. Second, that massive opportunities are often hiding in the places everyone else is ignoring. His life proves that being operationally excellent is way more powerful than having flashy ads, and that jumping on technology early can give you a huge leg up. But really, above all else, it shows that you have to build everything on a foundation of focusing on the customer.
And that really brings us to his most famous, most important quote, the simple idea that powered this whole thing. There is only one boss, the customer. Sam Walton never, ever forgot that. He built the biggest company in the world not by chasing money, but by relentlessly, obsessively serving the people everyone else had left behind.